Hello friends! Today we're going to talk about a really wonderful topic that was requested by 2 subscribers: staying positive or staying high vibe in the face of life's various circumstances. Jessica asked, she said, I'd love to see more videos about our spiritual path and how to put our vibrations to a higher frequency. And then Tiger said, I'd like to see some videos on how to stay focused on what we know and to stay in our positive energy, especially when someone is intimidating us or when an event in life is disturbing us or something like that. How can we speak our mind without sending bad vibes to other people? You guys, I really love this topic. I love thinking about how we can contribute positivity and happiness and joy to the planet. That's something I feel really passionate about. With that said, the first thing that I wanted to share with you all today, it is really important to give ourselves permission to be human. And even though I suspect that nearly everyone watching this video is probably a light worker or probably here to contribute positive energy to the planet, it's important for us to remember that we actually don't have to be positive all the time. And I think that the most important thing that we ought to try to be is authentic and to be true to ourselves and true to our souls and to remain in our integrity in all of the circumstances that life presents to us. I definitely do always try to bring positive energy to my work every single day, but I'm not 100% positive all day, every day, all of the time. What helps me to stay positive is that I'm able to see things from a higher perspective. You know, I feel like I'm performing well in life if I am contributing positive energy to the world about 70 or 80% of the time, maybe 20% of the time. I'm just neutral, like just content, just neutral, but not actively giving out positive energy. I definitely have my days, maybe 5-10% of the time. You know, I really need a day where I sit down with Zaire, my husband, or someone else, you know, a friend, and I actually vent and I get out some of my negative energies. Like, we all have to give ourselves permission to have bad days some of the time. And I think, you know, if you're contributing more positive energy to the planet most of the time, and the rest of the time maybe you're a little bit just like neutral, you know, I think that's still definitely a positive contribution. So anyway, here are my tricks for staying positive and high vibrational in all of life's circumstances. The first and most important thing is to be able to see through the illusion of reality. This reality that we see all around us all day at work and with our family. I don't know how to say this to you guys except just to say this is not real. This is not real. I don't want you guys to get ungrounded. I mean, after all, I literally have my Stay Grounded mug right here. But we have to keep in mind that our reality in our home is in the higher realms, and that we're just visiting Earth for a time, and that this is like a schoolhouse in a lot of ways, that we are all here to learn. One thing I really enjoy is near-death accounts, and I've noticed from people that have NDEs, like all of them say that when they died, it was almost exactly like waking from a dream, and this earthly life was the dream. So as much as things can seem like really serious, like our life challenges, and they can seem really real, it helps to understand that they're not. There's sort of 2 ways that I like to think about this. So one thing I like to play around with is the idea that life is a game. Life is kind of a game where we're presented with a whole bunch of really weird circumstances, honestly, and challenging circumstances, and the name of the game is to remain in the vibration of love no matter what happens. Like, that is seriously, like, that's like the highest spiritual outcome for all of us when we're here. So the game is about love. The game is, can you see through the eyes of love no matter what happens in your life? And then life just like throws all this crazy stuff at you, and if you think of it as a game, then that will really help. Or also, like, if you think of yourself like as if you were your own spirit guide, that can really help too. Like, if I was a magical spiritual like wizard who saw everything from the higher perspective, what would I do in this situation? That could help too. Another mindset that I carry with me all the time that helps a lot is the idea that life itself is like theater and everybody is just playing a role. This is exactly what life is. We all pick roles that we are going to play, and then we all come here with our soul groups and we play those roles. But it's important to keep in mind, like, I might be playing right now the role of Joy KahNah, YouTuber, sharing, some spiritual advice, but this isn't like fundamentally who I am, and the role that you play isn't fundamentally who you are as a soul either. It's just the role you were assigned in this lifetime. And when you look at everybody around you and you realize that they're just playing a role, it's pretty hard to actually get triggered by them or to take anything personally. All of us need challenges in our lives, and sometimes we need to learn, for example, to deal with somebody who's angry or to be around anger or things like that, right? So somebody has to play that role of that angry person. Sometimes we have to learn self-confidence, and sometimes that comes by having somebody around us who cuts us down, so we learn our real self-worth. Somebody has to play the role of being that person that cuts us down. And when you start to just see everybody as playing a role, it becomes a lot easier to stay positive. Now, sometimes you can get still really triggered by something at first, but if you just step back, take a moment to center yourself and ground yourself and realize this is not real. This is just a dream that I'm dreaming up to learn on behalf of my soul, and everybody's just playing a role. Usually, it's really easy to shift into a higher frequency. You've got to maintain a sense of humor. You guys, this planet is weird, okay? This planet is really, really weird, and pretty much everything is backwards to what makes sense. And we live inside of these bodies that are very heavy and very, very dense, and they're not probably even the most sophisticated body structures in the universe. The human species is not, I don't think, the most evolved species in the universe. Human behavior is not the most evolved behavior in the universe, and there are all different kinds of souls here on the planet. There are all different kinds of people on the planet and all different states of evolution. Sometimes you just got to look at what's going on and you just have to have a laugh, realizing how ridiculous it really, really is. And when you look for the humor in situations, that can be really beneficial. Imagine that you were from another planet. Imagine that you were maybe a more highly evolved extraterrestrial or something like that, and you turned on our news or our reality TV and you watched it. And when you look at it from that perspective, then you can really see the humor in what is taking place. And when you're really struggling with how to communicate with somebody, what really works well is if you fall in love with that person. Now you guys might be thinking, what? How am I going to be able to do that? It's actually really easy. You just look into the eyes of that person and imagine that you're falling in love with them. Just imagine that you're falling in love with them, and allow yourself to feel gratitude for that person, and then from that place you're able to respond really in alignment. It's a lot easier than you might think. You just gotta try it. And I know it can be scary sometimes, maybe we don't want to have that feeling of falling in love with the soul of our greatest enemy. And yet when you do that, you can really realize that there's goodness and light in every single person on this planet. We're really wizards when we can treat anybody with ultimate respect and love, regardless of how they're treating us. I feel like I love it when people are really mean to me and they're like, oh I hate you, or I hate your work or stuff. And I can just be like, you are amazing. I really, I really love you. Thank you for this feedback. Thank you for sharing your opinion. And I really mean it when I say those things to people, because I don't know. Everybody's great. Everybody's a soul. Everybody's great. Sometimes people act in different ways, but who cares? They're all just pretending to play the role of who they are anyway. So I don't know. That's what works for me. Right, so there was a particular question about speaking your mind. Now, I do, like I said at the very beginning, I think it's really important for us to be authentic, and when we suppress what we really feel or who we really are, I think it can manifest in making us feel really out of alignment, making us sick, stuff like that. So I think when speaking your mind, the trick is to not claim any special relationship to the truth. You can say, I feel this way, but if you don't say, and the way that I feel is right and it's the only way, then no one can really get mad at you. A lot of times you can present how you're feeling and say, I realize there may be other perspectives in the room, and I honor how you feel as well, but this is how I'm feeling right now. And if you're in a situation where you really need to communicate something negative and you do need to like own it and just be like, this is my opinion, then what I recommend is explaining to people how you got to your conclusion of how you feel, explaining your thought processes. Like, let's say that somebody is being really a jerk to you. You want to say something along the lines of, you know, recently I have been feeling like you may not have been the kindest to me. Last Friday, when I walked in the office, you scoffed at me and turned around and slammed the door in my face or whatever. Like, explain how you got to your conclusion. And I think it's really important when we're speaking our mind to put in a clause and say, I realize that I feel this way. I understand that this may not be the only way of seeing things. For my own well-being, you know, I really needed to communicate this. And I actually think the more that we say, this might not be the only way to see something, the more likely somebody is to listen. And the more that we claim, like, this is how things are, the more likely that the other person is to shut down. Especially when we're dealing with people that are mean. We should really try to pretend, at least, as if they weren't trying to be mean. Now, some people probably are trying to be mean, and you might know that they're trying to be mean, but if you want them to hear you, you should pretend like what they're doing was maybe an accident. Let's say someone's just inherently rude to everyone, you know? You might say, I know that you would never intentionally be rude to anyone. See the highest in that person, you know, that you're a very, very kind person and very thoughtful and you think of others all the time. But in this particular situation, I felt that maybe you were rude to me, and how I came to this conclusion is this, this, and this. That's the type of way that I generally communicate. I communicate a lot of things, and I do it with a sense of curiosity and an openness to the fact that I could be totally wrong and that there might be a million ways of seeing the situation, and I just present it as how I'm feeling at the time. This could change. Thank you for listening. Saying things out loud really helps me. You know, I will say that to people. Saying things out loud really helps me. It does. That's what I recommend. I think where we're off track is like if we really believe that we're better than the person that we're talking to, or that we're more right than them, because that is introducing a lot of ego. But if you just keep in mind that they're playing a role, you're playing a role, you're both doing the best that you can, and, you know, follow your North Node. Whatever your North Node sign is, bring that energy to your communications, and I think things will work out really well. But yeah, you guys, this is the tip of the iceberg about how I stay positive and high frequency most of the time. And I hope you guys have liked this video. If you have, please feel free to come back any Tuesday or Friday for more videos here on the Maya's Dream channel. Thank you for watching, and namaste. Bye!